Hi guys, SW Miron here. This is Glass Skulls Podcast episode 4. Thank you so much for being here with us today, tonight, this evening, this morning, whenever you're watching. Happy to have you. So, I wanted to start by sharing an excerpt from chapter 3 of Scenes from My Skeleton Closet. I realize it's backwards when you guys look at it. I'm sorry. I don't know how to make it not backwards. I'm not tech fancy like that yet, but I'm working on it. But here are the excerpts that I wanted to share. So, I was wrapping up the phone call with my parents, which did actually really help me this time around. This right here is a clear example of utilizing your people. That means the ones you turn to when you need support, to listen to you vent and to validate how you're feeling, because in fact, all feelings are valid. Whether someone disagrees with you or not, that's their problem. And no one can take away the truth of what your brain and body are feeling. So, this chapter, by the way, chapter 3, is named Burn the World Down. And it actually focuses a bit more on the emotion of rage. We'll get there. But yeah, I thought this was a really good one to start with, because having, there's a reason why, we are not on this earth all by ourselves, right? Like, we didn't just beam down here and it's just you by yourself. Everywhere you look is desolate. It's like there's no one to communicate with, no one to have relationships with, no one to support you if you're having a hard time, no one that you can support if they're having a hard time, right? So we're meant to be here to have relationships with other people. Part of that gig is for the people that you love. You gotta really up the ante when it comes to what it means to be there for somebody, because that could look very different depending on the situation, depending on the person who's struggling, depending on the person on the other side of the phone that you just called or what have you. I also wanted to point out before I forget, you could always, always, always call 988. That is a hotline that is dedicated exclusively for those that need some assistance with mental health. I've tested it out before myself. I've actually texted back and forth with a couple of different people. And it was, you could tell they were real people. This wasn't AI. This wasn't, some made up robot that was trying to help you through your hardest night of your friggin' life. So yeah, the using your people thing, there's a very important rule that I kind of want to emphasize, though. How do I say this? There's lots of people that you might have in your life that love you very much and would do anything for you. But they might not be somebody that's a good fit to help you if you were headed for a crisis or headed for a really emotional episode or incident. Um, I don't have a particularly long list of people that I would consider my people. I have a lot of people that are family and friends that I love very much and I care so much about them. But are they who I'm calling if I'm going into crisis? Hell no. Absolutely not. And I just know, I know the person, I know myself, I know my own needs, right? That's part of it too. You have to kind of know what it looks like for yourself when you're in a crisis. Or maybe if your symptoms that you experience are on the lesser end and it never amounts to a full crisis, I'm very happy for you that if that's the case. But I'm sure then apply all this to it being your worst day, having the worst day ever. You have to have people that are going to know how to support you and are going to do it without judgment, and they're just they're going to make you feel better ultimately. And that looks different depending on the situation, for sure. But I know that there are, I'd say, 4 people that I could call if there was ever a real crisis situation that I was in to get assistance. And my husband Chris is honestly a superhero. I don't know how he does it. I He's amazing. He People kid around and say he's like my bodyguard, or he like I'm, he's my one-to-one or all this kind of stuff. But besides those cute jokes, it's real. It gets pretty real around here sometimes. I want to talk about a difficult emotion next. That was really the basis of chapter 3 in Scenes from My Skeleton Closet. So I want to talk about the emotion of rage for a second. Rage, I think, is a tricky one because people hear rage and they think it means the same thing as anger, because it's like, oh, well, that's pretty much the same thing. I don't know. I think that, like, somebody being angry at somebody else is a lot different than somebody like having an outburst and going into absolute rage and throwing things or breaking things or punching holes in walls or biting or scratching or ripping hair out. I could go on all day. But the point is that rage is something that you need to be prepared for. If it's somebody that you know in your family that you love and you care about, or maybe as a close friend, I don't know. But people who have episodes where they have symptoms that lead them to places that they are so far gone that they are in a state of rage, like, I would never, like, I'm not gonna lie, I would never call my parents and expect them to know how to deal with me. I just wouldn't. It's not that simple. It's very, very challenging to deal with me when I'm in that particular zone. Gratefully, I only go to that zone, I think it's been twice, but it required some hands-on help to get back under control. And that's nothing to be ashamed of. And that's something that I'm so grateful that my husband is an expert in. And he has that knowledge. He does that for a living. So I benefit, and I'm very, very grateful for that. Another strategy that I want to bring up that I think is one that everybody could use is engaging in something you do well. So this could be anything. Maybe, like, for me, I'm a good dancer, relatively speaking. Good dancer. If I'm really stressed out and I am so overwhelmed with anxiety, especially, and I need something to just shake all of it up because it's just weighing me down, I grab my tap shoes and hit the dance floor. And you know what? I'll tell you, 20 minutes later, I feel like $1,000,000. It's really similar to the release that a lot of people describe that they get when they leave the gym. How they feel this kind of like, wow, I feel so great now that I just exercised. Well, maybe you could achieve feeling so great swinging a baseball bat at a batting cage. Maybe that's something that you're good at. So that's what you should go and engage in when you need something to distract yourself from the anxiety or from the depression or from whatever it might be. Other things could be cooking, could be baking, could be cleaning. I wouldn't have thought of that one, I bet. Yep, cleaning, believe it or not, brings a lot of people peace, brings a lot of people kind of like a centered, back to calm reset. Hey, if it works, go for it. The lyrics that I would have picked out to include in this chapter, if copyright was not such an issue, I'm only a little bitter, can you tell? I had selected a lyric from the song Best Friend. It's by two of my favorite artists, and they are in themselves like a juxtaposition like no other, because I don't know any other songs they've ever done together, and I think this might be the last one. But it's by Fall Out Boy and Juice WRLD. It says, "And while the world falls apart, still driven on your broken heart, trash and fire falling down as we slow dance." I love the imagery in that. When I wrote this chapter, I was in a phase of my life where I knew I was about to make a really, really big change to my career. Like completely aborting my dual master's, triple teacher certification career to go and help run my family's business and work in the office and learn to be an office manager. And it's wonderful now, and I'm so glad I made that leap, don't get me wrong, but like making that leap was terrifying. And if I had to think of a perfect metaphor or a perfect depiction of like how to artistically explain to someone how I feel at that moment when I was having to jump from like literally like the one school building over this like waterway into landing into my family's business, like it's like I picture it like there's this crater between the two. And I don't know, when I think of the song, I think of getting over the bridge that you build yourself as you go because you're determined to get there. And as you dance, which typically is a pretty carefree, pretty enjoyable thing to do, I was imagining all my teacher certifications on fire, falling down around me, and my 2 master's degrees falling down, and my bachelor's. That was exactly what I saw in my brain when I heard those words. And I can't tell you the peace that it brought me. Music, oh, don't forget about that one, okay? That one's like an ace in the hole. That is a superpower. A superpower. So we know music can help us when we go through difficult situations with our mental health or our emotions and things like that. We know protecting our peace is important. We know radical acceptance is a tool to help you cope with usually trauma. And it's not saying it's okay. It's never okay. But it's saying it is what it is. Use your people. That's one we talked about today. And engage in something you do well. That we also talked about today. So that is 5 different strategies that so far in just 4 episodes we have gotten to talk about together. And I'm getting super excited because I'm posting more and more of those silly little short videos so that I can get up to the right to be able to go live. So ultimately, that's my goal for this podcast, is for it to be live so that you can be like giving your feedback like in real time. Like I want it to be like I'm actually talking to somebody else and not just, talking to you this way. So yeah. Oh my goodness, time flies. Well, it's been about 15 minutes, so I'm not going to drag on any longer, but thank you so much for listening. And if you did enjoy, please hit the like or follow button or subscribe button or whatever buttons are down here, because that will help me be able to get closer to doing the lives. All right, guys. I'll talk to you soon. I hope you have a great week. Bye.